different things.
leave.
So
I gotta take Bill.
I've done a card here. I'll try to go with it. And the first thing says, thanks, Jim. Oh, all right. You're welcome. Hi, everyone. I'm here to introduce Chris Waymire today. Chris is the guru with the Business and Professional Exchange here in town, and most of you are going, what in the world is the Business and Professional Exchange? BPE is I think, one of the best kept secrets in Indiana. I've lived all over this country and have never found another group like BPE. Now, this started in Indianapolis, and it's the business, on one hand, and professional exchange. And the idea, and there are a lot of us in this room that can help with this, is get the business owners or the business people in the same room with the white-collar professionals that need jobs, so they can talk about that. Now, I know it works, and the way I know it works is I've been involved with BPE since the mid-'80s, when it got started in Indianapolis. In fact, I was on the board at one point, so I'm very interested in BPE. But the best thing about how it works is when Ron and I moved back to Indiana almost 6 years ago, the two jobs I got here in town before I decided to do my own thing were found in that room. One from the network in that room, and one, and Chris, you may remember this, the gentleman at Wabash National, who ended up being my boss in IT, was sitting at the same table I was. So BPE is something, again, that I'm sure an awful lot of you don't know about. Chris is going to tell you about that. I would like for Kiwanis to welcome a gentleman I am very, very proud to call my friend, Chris Waymire.
I think I'm going to just do without the mic.
That doesn't work.
You need it.
I mean,
Old people.
a lot of us hear you, but we don't understand.
Myself.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Business Professional Exchange has been in operation in Indiana since 1985. It was started by 4 laid-off executives in Indianapolis who started huddling up every Monday morning at a local coffee shop just to talk about what was going on. It didn't take very long before there were 6 of them huddling up every Monday morning. And a little bit after that, there were 8 of them huddling up every Monday morning. And a little bit after that, there were 20 of them. And finally, the coffee shop owner said, look, you guys are going to have to find another place to meet. And the Business Professional Exchange was born at that point. It is a professional networking organization dedicated to helping professional men and women re-enter the labor market from whatever point they are. So we do that by sharing information, ideas, resources, and job leads with one another, but the most important thing that group does is support each other during this period of job transition. And I just want to see a show of hands. How many of you have ever been in a job search? How many of you thought it was fun? Okay. How many of you thought it took a little longer than you expected? Okay. How many found it was a lonely ordeal? Ordeal is the operant word there for most of us. Well, we've got a support group in town here. There are 6 BPE chapters in Indiana right now. Join one chapter, you're a member of them all. It's kind of like Kiwanis. Join one Kiwanis club, you're welcome to all the members. You're welcome in all the clubs all over the country. We've got chapters in Lafayette, Kokomo, Bloomington, Avon, Indianapolis, and Evansville right now. So we're from Lafayette's the farthest north end, Evansville is the farthest south, so we've got the state covered. But what we do is help connect people with decision makers. And who are those decision makers? Those decision makers are folks like you, folks who know people, who know people, who know people. You've heard that about 6 degrees of separation, right? Well, in a town the size of Lafayette, there's only 3. You're never going to get to 6 degrees of separation. You all know somebody who knows the next guy or gal who's going to help that friend of yours get a job. Get to that position, get from where they are to, yes, I can use you, when can you start, which is what I think all job seekers want to hear. You know, but the truth is that we never see job hunting on people's list of favorite things to do. What do you do for fun, Steve? Job hunt. No, you don't. You know, what do you do for fun, Kathy? Job interview. I just love job interviews. No, you don't. You know, and we never get good at it until it's too late. You know, and when we get our jobs, I can about promise you, everybody who gets it, yes, I can use you, when can you start, gets to do this. Whew, I never have to do that again. You know, I want this job to be my last job, but sadly, that next job is probably just your next job. You're going to be in job search mode again. How do you manage that? And all the studies that have been done in the last 70 years and every decade, the number one method for getting hired is to get in the room with somebody who knows somebody, and help with that process. So how many of you have ever helped somebody get a job? Thank you, thank you, thank you. How did you do that? You knew where there was an opportunity that the person who you helped get a job didn't know about, I suspect, or maybe you hired them directly. But for most of us, we help people when we hear about opportunities that might interest them, and we share that information. Well, that's what BPE does. We're connected to a lot of people. We've got approximately 2,000 alums out in Indiana right now who are busy working at their current jobs, and they know how their companies work. They know where the soft spots are. They know when they're looking for talent, and they know where there's a whole room full of it that they can draw from. So that's what keeps our world going around. Now in Lafayette, we meet every Monday morning out at the Faith Community Center. We're not a faith-based organization. We're a 501c3 who happens to get free rent from the Faith Community Center. So we thank them for that. Every Monday morning from 8 to 9:30, we have a group of professional men and women who huddle up and talk about what their life's like, what they need to know, what they wish they'd done better, what they got stuck on in that last interview. How in the world do I handle a Skype interview? Anybody ever had a Skype interview? Skype interview is, just for those of you who, this might be a strange new term, is they interview you on your TV or through your monitor. Now, I had a young man who said, Chris, I just had a Skype interview. Here's what I did. Now, he had his monitor facing him so that the interviewer could see him somewhere in Texas. Guess where his wife was? Behind the monitor with cue cards, reminding him about what he should be talking about. By the way, he's now working in Texas, so that's the way that our world works. We share information, ideas, and resources, and we never know when a good idea is going to cross our path. A good idea is a good idea, and we like to share them. If Sam has an apple and Chris has an orange, and we trade them, now we both have one piece of fruit, right? But if Sam has an idea and I have an idea and we share them, now we both have two ideas. See how that works? Now we both have two ideas. So we're all about sharing our ideas. What worked for us might work for you. I'm connected with about 35 different recruiters now. Those recruiters call me when they're looking for talent that they can't find because they know that BPE is a wonderful source of talent. And I get calls from them, they say things like, Chris, you got any electrical engineers in the group right now? You got any project managers in the group right now? You got anything who knows anything about aerodynamics in your group right now? You got a frontline supervisor in your group right now, looking for a new department head over at? And it just keeps us going around and around and around. Now, right now, I think that we probably have over 1,000 alums in Lafayette alone. I've been busy with this project for 15 years. I started in 2002, and it was going to be one of those projects that I worked at for about a year and turned it over to somebody else. I just can't let go of it. And it's become a labor of love for me. Now, I work for a workforce intermediary. We connect people with companies, we connect companies with people. How many of you are familiar with Work One? Work One. Work One does not get people jobs. How many of you knew that? Work One does not get people jobs. Work One gets jobs people. Think about that. Nothing happens until an employer calls looking for talent. Then the troops swing into action and start looking for that talent. Well, that's what BPE does. We are an intermediary between a lot of employers, a lot of recruiters, a lot of department heads, human resource departments, and they call us when they're looking for talent. So I'm looking for good speakers. And if you know a good speaker, every Tuesday and Monday morning I can use one. I have an interesting speaker coming up next week. Kathy York is going to be talking about tools that anybody can use for proofreading. How do I want to improve my resume? How do I want to write a better cover letter? How do I want to craft a good thank you note? Well, Kathy is an expert at that, so I utilize all of my resources. I'll take just a little bird walk with you. When my youngest daughter, who just got married Saturday, was in 8th grade, she was working on Algebra 1. How many of you have ever worked on Algebra 1? What's in the back of your algebra books? The answers, right? So Laura's downstairs doing her homework one evening, and I come downstairs, and I see her in the back of her algebra book. I said, Laura, are you cheating? She said, no, Dad, I'm utilizing all of my resources. I said, good answer, Laura. Good answer. So we want to utilize all of our resources, and we believe that everything is fair in love and war and job getting. A real brave fellow in World War II, George Patton, once said, tactics without strategy is simply the noise before the defeat. Tactics without strategy is simply the noise before the defeat. And it amazes me how many people start a job search with tactics, but no strategy. I'm going to get another job. Say, how are you going to do that? Well, there's one out there somewhere for me. Yeah, there is. Would you rather have a long job search or a short job search? Would you rather have a really good job or a job? Well, I want a really good job, and I want to get it in a real short time. Well, that's going to get down to networking. And what do you do? Job getting is a tremendous doing component. It cannot be a passive activity. I've got to be out there. I've got to be visiting places like the Kiwanis Club, Business After Hours, Wabash Valley Lean Network, get connected with the Chamber, get connected with people who are connected with other people. And let me tell you how this can spread. I had a young Chinese girl from Cranard. She was working on her master's degree in human resources. And she showed up at BPE. And she had just been separated from Fairfield. She was an expert at Excel spreadsheet and the princess of charting. She had it down. And she came to me and she said, Chris, I want help. What we're working on right now is interview skills at Cranard. She said, I heard that you have a whole room full of professional men and women here, and all I get to do is interview students. I said, do you have some real people I could interview? I said, yeah, I do, as a matter of fact. Well, it didn't take very long before the dean of Cranard's business school was contacting me and said, hey, we heard that you've got a room full of professionals who don't mind being interviewed by students. He said, I've got a whole classroom full of international business students who need professional men and women to practice their interview skills on. We became part of the curricula at Cranard School of Business Management in Human Resources as part of their interview skill development. When they're learning how to interview professional men and women, I provide the fodder for that. And guess who wins? Everybody. The students win because they're getting real live interview practice with real live people who are in real life job search mode. My BPE members win because they're getting real live, state-of-the-art, cutting-edge interview skill development prepared by students. 360-degree feedback. We get to hear about how our guys did in the interview. We get to tell them how their guys did as interviewers. And how many of you would like to have had a chance like that on occasion? I want to talk to this person who interviewed me about their skill development. They need some training. If I can out-interview them, they need some training. So that's what we do. Now, I brought with me a news story, hiring help. This is the top story from TV18 a couple of years ago, but it's still valuable, and I hope you can hear it. So I'm going to shut up and just let you watch this. This is actually taped at one of our meetings.
Some workers in white-collar industries say there are few resources for them.
News Channel 18's Kristen Majorano joins us now with more on a local group dedicated to helping those workers. Kristen.
Well, Gina and Jeff, the
Professional Exchange's Lafayette chapter is one of 6 throughout Indiana, and leadership in the group say it has the highest attendance levels of all of those chapters. The focus is on professional networking and building relationships that could one day lead to a new job.
This will be the only group that you've ever joined that will work really hard to get rid of you. We don't want you.
Though the camaraderie may be nice for the dozens of members of the Business and Professional Exchange, unemployment is no laughing matter.
We both just moved to town a few months ago. We're originally from Indianapolis and moved to Albuquerque for jobs that went away.
Like Kathy York and her husband Ron, many of the white-collar professionals who attend BPE meetings have decades of experience in their fields. Some have PhDs. All are looking to get back into the job market. But they're finding it's not always so easy.
As far as I know, we're the only service organization in Tippecanoe County that's designed specifically for white-collar people who are in job search.
BPE President Chris Waymire says the group's weekly meetings are tailored to assist in that job search, whether members are learning new skill sets,
Creating tools to work through part of the Six Sigma process.
or simply learning to be more comfortable in a professional setting.
I work at 3 Fortune 500 companies.
When we get done, guess what? Y'all have had fun doing it.
Any entry-level positions in the same area, we'll have to run for.
For many of the members of the Business and Professional Exchange, that one phrase, "let me know," is important. They stress the networking relationships they make while getting together each week.
You have people who will go to a company eventually and will say, oh, I remember Kathy York does this or does that, or another person does this or does that. I truly believe in this town the network is the thing.
Besides unemployed workers and those looking to transition careers, the Business and Professional Exchange also encourages companies looking for qualified workers to attend meetings, as well as nonprofits looking for professional volunteers. For more information on how to take part in BPE meetings, click on this story at WLFI.com. Kristen Mayorano, News Channel 18.
So that was one of our meetings where we were actually learning Six Sigma processes. And the fellow who was facilitating that was a Six Sigma expert, and we were looking to improve our own efficiencies and eliminate some of our own waste. So that was what that particular meeting was about, and TV18 showed up and said, hey, would you mind if we film some of this? We need a lead story. And I said, oh, please, twist my arm, make us do that for you. So as Kathy said, we think we're also one of the best kept secrets in Indiana. Not very many people find us. When they do, it's sort of by accident than by design. So I could really use your help. If you know any professional man or woman, and you be the judge of how professional, we don't have collar checkers at the door, all are welcome. Anybody who's out of work and looking, refer them our way. We think that we can help them. Now, as I said, we've been in business in Lafayette for 15 years. I'm also the president of the Kokomo chapter. I do Lafayette on Monday morning, and I do Kokomo on Tuesday morning. And I'm currently a member of the board of directors of the Business and Professional Exchange. So we're always looking for methods to increase awareness. We're not very good at social media, sadly. And I'm looking at our group here today, and I can see that there's a lot of retired folks, but I bet you're still connected to your company. I bet you still know somebody who works there. I bet you all know somebody who's looking for a job. And if you do, we'd like to work with them. So please consider us when you consider how you can help somebody who get to yes, I can use you. When can you start? We practice interview skills. We do resume crafting. We practice skill identification. If it has to do with getting hired, we know a little bit about it. Yeah, and we think that we're the best organization in Indiana. In fact, I think we're the only organization in Indiana dedicated exclusively to helping professional men and women get back into the labor market. It's not the same thing as a frontline line worker. Subaru is looking to hire 2,000 people. They're only going to hire 5 engineers. So those engineers have a harder road to hoe than people think. And the fantasy is, well, you've got a degree, you've got experience, just go out and get another job. Trust me, it's not that easy. Especially if I've got some seniority under my belt. I'm going to be turning 70 next April. I could tell you, I don't want to be in job search mode when I'm 70. You know, I don't want to be in job search mode when I was 55. There is such a thing as age discrimination. It is alive and well. And we think we know a little bit about how to combat that. You won't hear that we think you're too old. You will hear, we think you're overqualified. We usually read that as, they think you're too old, they think you're too experienced, they think you're too expensive, and what you hear is overqualified. Well, we say, great, that's wonderful. I'm overqualified. Look at what you get for me when you hire me. 17 years of experience as a project manager, 20 years of experience as a group facilitator, 5 years of experience as a clinical hypnotist. What is it that you do? Well, I got to get good at talking about that, and you guys are my witnesses here. Us guys aren't as good at talking about ourselves as you gals are. You know, when us guys, if Sam and I met at the club, it's not going to take us very long before one of us says to the other, so what do you do? I say, well, I'm a trainer. And Sam says, oh, I'm a professor. Did either one of us tell the other one what we did? No, we just threw a job title at each other. Now, well, we want to help people get good at talking about what they do, because that gets translated into I offer. This is what I bring. This is what I'm known for. You know, how many of you are real good at LinkedIn? I said real good at LinkedIn. That real good was the operant phrase there. I think a lot of us get on LinkedIn, but you need to get good at it. You know, if I'm not good at it, it's a tool in my toolbox that I'm not using well. If you look at my LinkedIn, I'd encourage all of you to hook up with me on LinkedIn. I am not a lion, you know, a lion. LinkedIn, online networker. Those are people who take anybody. I'm not one of those guys, but I have about 2,000 connections on LinkedIn. And if you get on my LinkedIn homepage, you'll see that it says Chris Waymire, a senior master trainer, known for being able to teach anybody anything. Well, can I really? No, but that gets a lot of attention. You know, the president of my senior high school class found my LinkedIn homepage, and he sends me a little end message, says, Chris, can you teach me how to fly an airplane? No, Dave, but I can teach you how to fly. Let's go parachuting 128 miles an hour with just your body. He never emailed me back. So I don't know about that, but you have to be out there. You have to figure out how to get out there. And if you can figure out how to do that, and BP is a good way to get out there, you're going to get attention. And when you get attention, you're going to get interviews. And when you get interviews, you're going to get good at interviewing. And when you get good at interviewing, you're going to get to, yes, I can use you. When can you start? So I'm going to shut up now because Kathy said I only had about 15 minutes to talk, and I'll entertain any questions that you might have. Yes, ma'am.
What about someone that has a job but maybe wants a different job opportunity or is looking to, you know?
We have employed people show up just looking for other opportunities and to network. You know, so it's really is all about networking. Who do I know who you need to know? Who do you know who Sam needs to know? Who does Kathy know who you all need to know? You know, so it's about connecting people with people, and when we connect those dots, we come with some automatic credibility. If Kathy sends somebody to me, I can pretty much have faith that they're not a schmuck. They're not a ne'er-do-well. They're not a nefarious nabob, because Kathy wouldn't do that to me. So if you called me and say, hey, Kathy, York suggests I give you a call, I'm probably going to invite you in. See, so because I'm connected to Kathy and Kathy's connected to you. So now I just closed another triangle. Now I can improve my network. So we talk about how do you improve your network? We all have a network. You know, we all have a network. How many of you have one of these? I'm just curious. How many of you have a contact list in this? Everybody in your contact list is a potential person you need to network with. I just lost my job. Every one of my contacts needs to know I'm available. You know, and we encourage people to start thinking of themselves in those terms. I'm available is at least 2 rungs up on the self-esteem food chain from I'm unemployed. No, I'm available. Good friend of mine who was the general manager with G.H. Braille, which used to be the poster child at Purdue Research Park, called me and said, Chris, I lost my job at G.H. I said, that's great. You lost your job at GH. Now you get to use your creativity and find yourself an employer who appreciates you. Come on down. And Rita's our newest member, so in our BPE family. So please consider that you know somebody who knows people who can help those people who you know who are out of work and looking get to yes, I can use you. So thank you for listening to me ramble.
Thank you, Chris and Kathy. Did I hear you say something?